Welcome to Story Ideas on the Fly.
Where we pick a random idea from a hat.
And then we just try to develop it.
If you like any of the ideas here, feel free to take them for your own stories.
Ideas are free.
Welcome, everyone. Let's see what the prompt for today is. A hero randomly shifts from one adventure to another, simultaneous adventures. He has no control over it. They can be different genres.
So you mean something where the heroes just have like
So
four
kind of-
different adventures going on and he's just randomly jumping between them?
Yeah, so like several isekais all at once without the dying part. Just the
Okay, well the first question is, why is he being transported to like 4 different locations?
Truck-kun.
No, this is not it.
This is not a
not-
Truck-kun situation.
This has to, yeah. So we've got to give him.
Well, that would be part of the thing, is him having to figure out why he's randomly, because he can't control it.
You could
Yeah.
have something where he's being summoned to all 4 of these different worlds for completely
the
different
same time?
reasons.
You could have him. You could have him somehow. Somehow he won the isekai lottery or the unlucky isekai lottery. Unlucky's
Or
where he
if
got.
if you wanted a more
Yes, I mean-
scientific approach to it, you could have an interdimensional thing. Have him been okay. You make him a janitor in a science facility where they were experimenting with transdimensional energy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And at one point, the reactor exploded, and he happened to be cleaning nearby,
And so
and
he was flooded with interdimensional energy that, like,
now he's
soul into-
continuously shifting between like 4 or 5 universes. Each one is completely different, and so
All right.
he.
okay, for some
So
reason
you-
I want one of them to be inhabited by squid people.
You could have like a sci-fi
I can
universe
see that.
with people in it. There's one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the real question is, how do you make this an interesting story? Because you need him to be. You want him to be able to complete all the different stories and succeed in them.
Yes.
But you also want
basing
them all to
some-
interact with each other.
Yeah, you need an overall story and not just him getting back to his own world.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well, one possibility is you could go with him naturally being brought to these 4 different universes is actually drawing them into each other, which could make the whole universes collapse on each other. That's a possibility.
I would
Collapsing
also like to
universes.
see him drawn into each world for a reason. Because if he just randomly goes into a world and there's no adventure, okay, I go here and I have lunch, and then I get popped out to this other one and I go over.
Yeah.
So you know, that's
Right,
the
there
kind
needs
of
to
the
be
advantage of
conflict.
the not saying it doesn't have to be an isekai, but in an isekai they pull
They're
everyone
usually summoned for a reason.
yeah,
So
well, if
he's
you wanted to
he's
go,
choosing
Mom,
for
if you want to go
reasons.
isekai, Fantasia is literally this entire thing, except it's only 2 worlds. So,
Also, second thing, most isekais there isn't a reason. They're just randomly brought there and they're just stuck there for some
Okay,
untold amount
anyway,
of time.
Regardless
On
of
to
the reason,
this
he needs
one,
a reason. Yeah.
here's a possibility, though. I like what you mentioned about the universes collapsing in on each other. What if you did have, like, a group of universes that something happened, and now these universes are collapsing in on each other?
Mhm.
And he
We're on the
his-
verge of collapse.
Well, yeah, on the verge of collapse. And so there are like portals opening up in them, or areas that are in both universes at the same time. And
Ah.
he happened to be one of the first people brought between universes, and because of that, he's kind of quantum entangled with multiple universes. And so he randomly will jump from one universe to another, and he has no control over it. But he's also actually has a goal in this case of, let's try to figure out what's causing all these universes to collapse on each other and how to stop it.
Yeah. Stopping it is nice.
And then that would connect all the universes, because maybe
Suddenly
there
there
might
are
be,
portals opening between them.
well, not just portals. There could be like special keys, and you have to do something in this universe to stop, and something in this universe in order to move them apart, type thing.
Mhm.
Interesting.
Villains. I want
No.
villains in each of the different world.
Okay, well,
was gonna
what
say-
worlds are we dealing with?
Hold on, you could have an overarching villain
You're
if you
probably gonna
wanted,
wanna
because
go
the
with a fantasy
situational
or the
villain is an
sci-fi.
option. But
Wants-
you could also go with an overarching villain too, who, finding out that these universes are collapsing on each other, decides to harness that energy to, I don't know, achieve godlike power, because that's a lot of power.
He could
Or
have done this on purpose.
he could have
This
done this on
doesn't have to
purpose.
be an accident. He could have done this on purpose.
That is true. So that would be, I think, your overarching villain. But yes, each world would also have to have a villain, whether it's an opportunistic villain or,
Okay,
a more
question is, what
sinister
kind of world
villain.
should we deal with?
Well, you want
could
to
have
variety.
a classic fantasy,
Yeah.
a classic sci-fi.
Mm-hmm.
We could also go with your traditional urban fantasy, where that could be the one he's from, where it looks completely normal on the outside, but there are vampires, werewolves, and all the stuff hidden in the night.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So that's his
Should we also
actual
throw in a
world. He didn't
superhero?
know that they were.
Yeah, he thinks he's from a normal world, from our
Okay.
world, but he's not.
That's interesting. Okay.
Should we also throw in a superhero just for the heck of it?
Superhero works, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
We do some kind of interesting animals, or I don't know.
Ooh,
Squid
yeah.
people.
Realm. Squid people.
Far Realm. Far Realm.
Sure.
Okay, so I think that would mean that in his world, there's probably problems with vampires going on.
And
The
yeah,
vampires
and
are trying to take over the world, blah 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 blah.
I mean, you could have more than one. You could have
you could have
vampires
conflicts
and
in
werewolves
every
and,
world is
Yeah.
the thing. And you would. So you would have things like, well, the Far Realm would be easiest because everything there is weird and because of Lewis. But you could have supervillains from one world who jump into the fantasy, who get lost in the fantasy world and start wrecking over there.
and dragons showing up in the squid world and
Uh,
having calamari or
Now-
something like that. I don't know.
Now the real question is, what's this big bad come from? I think you have him be from one of the either fantasy or sci-fi worlds,
So he can be someone who's powerful enough that he could actually cause a collapse of an entire universe.
but he actually have him be. Oh, here's what you have. He's from the sci-fi world, and he basically harnessed the power of a black hole to initially jump worlds, and that is when he found the Far Realm world with all the strange Cthulhu-esque stuff, and then he utilized the powers there, combined it with his technology in order to disrupt the universes. And that's how he's doing it. So he's actually using multidimensional technology in order to collapse the dimensions.
Probably ended up making a naked singularity if we're gonna want to go with any kind of hardness with the
Why
sci-fi.
did you want to do this?
Probably so that if he can collapse the world and take as much of the power, like, because if he can combine his magic, science, and all this other stuff, and then make it an entire universe that he rules over, that has all this power from all 5 or 6 of
Basically,
these
he
worlds.
wants to
I think
become
we had
God.
5.
I wrote 6.
Oh, okay.
I also included an anthropomorphized world of animals.
That could be really fun.
That'd be
Then
dark.
he could collect. Then
That
he
would
has
be-
this huge amount of power, which
Okay,
could then
maybe.
expand into taking over more universes and just the
And
eternal
convert
drive of
himself
power.
into a multi-dimensional threat, taking over entire universes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that could
Or
be
he could have
fun.
already done that, and this be like the 3rd or 4th time he's doing this.
Oh,
That would be
that would be fun.
exciting.
In which
So
case
how do
you're
we
not-
get him to?
In which case, he's not from any of these universes. He's his own entity.
Yeah.
So if you've got your
So
hero
how does
is
our
a
hero beat a guy
janitor,
like this?
how's he going to?
Oh no, janitor was just one of the ideas, but I was thinking basically somewhat normal person gets thrust into this.
Mm-hmm. He could still be a janitor. The question is just how does he defeat
Or he could
this
be
guy?
a science nerd that worked here.
Yeah, intern.
Well, the original idea of having the technological explosion, we ditched that, so he no longer has to work at a lab.
Okay.
Okay.
Now he's
Well, why was he sucked into it though?
He happened to be at the wrong place at the wrong time. Now that could be for a variety of reasons.
What if?
All depending on what you want his
If,
skill set to
especially
be.
if this villain has done this before, what if he's the child of that villain? What if he's this villain's child and his mother, ran away with him eons ago or however long into
a
another,
different universe. Ooh.
into as far a universe as she could
You
get
could
from
also
this
go with the
guy.
idea that he's actually the vessel this guy's planning on using. And so he's trying to prepare him to be the one to actually takes over the universe, because in transporting himself, he's not, because kind of thinking of him not, the villain not
Saying he
actually
may have
going
messed
to
up his
this
own body
multiverse
or-
itself, but instead sending a psionic impression of himself to this universe in order
Yeah.
to take it over.
And so
Those
in
are
that
mutually
case,
exclusive.
he doesn't have. So in that case, that would also make him the best person to beat the villain. And what he does is he doesn't actually have to fight this multi-dimensional thing. It would almost be the final battle would be basically like a battle in the mind, where he almost has to outwill this interdimensional being, but then and basically shut him down.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh,
Nice.
that could be interesting. And then his character development is learning to, instead of being guided through as he starts being guided into random adventures in each world as he jumps into it, but then he takes it for himself and then starts fighting back against this multi-dimensional being that's trying to make him do what it wants him to do, gets his own free will, and then basically overcomes him and utilizing all the things he's gathered from the various worlds to overpower him, basically
And seal him away?
seal him away, and release all the universes he's already taken over.
Nice.
Okay.
Could be
That would
fun.
be
Cool.
that
Oh,
could
wait,
be
wait, we
both
have to-
funny, goofy, and really intense at times.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We have to ask the romance question, right? Because we always have to ask the romance
Of course
question,
you do.
right?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, okay.
Here's my thought.
You have
Wait. she's
lots
got
of
a
love
thought.
interest.
Yeah, I was going
Lots
to
of
say.
potential.
Here's his love interest, all of them. Not ultimately, but I think in every different world he meets a different girl who's helping him in his travels.
She got a love hexagon.
No, it's not like a love black hole.
He's not trying to
Oh,
be
it's
he's not trying to be a player. He just wherever he's going, he's got a girl supporting him, and
Possibly
then at the
because
end,
of the interdimensional entity just trying to attract people to him, because he wants people to serve him.
fair enough.
Psionically telling him, you should serve me.
Yeah, so then
Which could end up having
in
it
the
so he starts
end, he
going,
gets to
no, you
decide.
don't love me. You're being psychically influenced by this cosmic being who's trying to enter my brain.
At least once he figures out about it, yeah.
Yeah, so then at the end he has to figure out which world he wants to stay in. And then the girl who, and he get together. But you could have a number of different girls with different
Interesting.
personalities
It would
and
be
styles.
a very psychological story because you'd be exploring a lot of things like freedom, identity, and
free will.
yeah, lots. That's what I started with.
Yeah, freedom,
but-
free will.
And like choosing your world, also choosing your path. There would be. This could be a really interesting, like, analytical story while also being entertaining.
That is true.
So not this type of story I would write. Maybe Michael would write it.
So who would write this?
Maybe.
I don't know. I'm sitting there going, it's really intriguing. At the same time, after writing Time Cops, it would be hard to write something like this and not feel, kind of
Like
like,
it's the same story you've already written.
which is not the same story,
Not
but
even
there's no, it's not even close to the same story, but it would be a little hard as an author to write that because I've written something that was so
Similar.
fun, dealing with the whole anomalies
Yeah.
and the world's connected and all
know.
those things. So it might be a little hard to wite, but it sure would be fun.
No, I
Okay.
might be able to write it.
Reading
Just
it though, I
give
want
me a
you
few
guys to help me
years.
with the world building, okay?
Yes. All right. Well,
So,
Which
All right.
world should we
you
start
never know,
with?
someone else could take the idea and run it with their own direction. Who knows?
Exactly.
or everyone could, because everybody that writes things, you can take the same idea and go 200 different ways with it.
Exactly.
So they
Oh
never
yeah,
end
if I
up
gave
the
you
same.
Paladin, Philip would have been a comic relief.
All right.
Have fun.
We'll see you next time.